Hello again, my friends. Well, today I thought that we would have time to deal with another subject which is very important. And the subject is divisiveness. There's a lot of politicians that are using this term, divisiveness, and throwing it at each other. They are saying, well, people that are talking about CRT are being divisive. People that are promoting DEI are divisive. All of a sudden, everybody is divisive, and it seems to be the same group of people that they used to call woke. Mere coincidence, I guess. But I thought that it is important today to deal with this divisiveness. Now, what is divisiveness? Well, in a general definition, I'm going to read it because I forget, is division, discord, disharmony, dissension, etc. Everything that essentially pulls people apart with different opinions. Now, the reason, and I was going to give it away, the reason for divisiveness essentially comes primarily from information conflict. Also comes from information from different values, interests, relationships. However, the root cause, the bottom line, comes from disinformation or misinformation. And this is carefully managed, manipulated by the groups of people that are in authority that want to. And let me be clear on this. Sometimes it's the groups that are in authority, and sometimes are the groups that want to get in authority. Okay, so let's kind of dive into this a little bit so we can understand. And as I always say, it is important to understand the terms that we're using so we can have an actual dialogue and coming together. Now, do we really have different values? And let me explain. When people talk about DEI and CRT, okay, they are talking about a theme that says, and correct me if I'm wrong, in a room full of 20 people whom you don't know, okay, you will look to come together most of the time with people whom you identify with people whom you feel akin to. And this is equal in all areas. If you happen to be a Mexican and you're a personnel manager or a hiring manager, and you live in Mexico, and somebody comes to your office looking for a job, and he looks black, tall, and speaks Spanish in a way that it's hard for you to understand because he has an accent. And then right next to him, you have another Mexican who just graduated from the local college. And and let's say this black guy, he graduated from some university in England, which you have never heard about. And this kid, he's Mexican, he speaks fluent Spanish, he looks like you, talks like you, and who are you more likely to hire? Well, more likely than not the kid, because it's going to be easier for you to understand. You're going to say that it's going to be easier for him to fit into the work pattern. You're going to say a lot of things because you feel more comfortable with him. That is the fact of the matter. Now, the black guy who has the size of a basketball player, or maybe shorter, but and has a degree from a university you have never heard about, he could have an actual IQ of 160, who could actually bring innovation to your factory beyond your wildest dreams. And you would let him go because you don't feel comfortable with him. Now let's put this in the backwards. You're a white manager in a town where the majority of the people are white, and they all graduate from the local college. Let's call it UTEP, or let's call it NMSU. These are or Harvard. These are colleges that are very popular. Everybody hears from them, right? And then you have a Hispanic guy show up, and he has a degree from Universidad Autónoma de México, or de Chihuahua. You have never heard of this. So at the same time, you have a kid come in that graduated from one of these universities. He's white. He looks like one of the kids in the neighborhood. Who are you more likely to hire? Well, you're more likely to hire that white kid because you feel more comfortable with him, because you know more about him than you do about this other one. Well, DEI is an attempt to say, listen, I understand that you feel more comfortable hiring people that look like you, that are like you, that have common trends of learning like you, but when you don't take a risk with somebody that's different, you not only are missing the mark, but you are now creating unemployment for someone who may very well be more deserving of the job than the person that you hired. And of course, a lot of people who do not like DEI, who do not like to look at the difference that happens, the honest difference that happens within ourselves, will say, well, I'd rather have somebody that I can trust and train than somebody that knows a lot, but I don't know if I can trust him. In this case, you are valuing loyalty over functionality or efficiency or even ability to do the job. You see, so we as human beings quite often do this, and we do it wherever our race is the majority, we do it to other races. And here in the United States, the majority of people happen to be white. They could be Indian, but that's another story for another day. The fact of the matter is that about, 70% of people in the United States are white. 70 or 75. I might be wrong off of these numbers. I'm just citing them off of memory. But I know that we still have a vast majority of white people in the United States. And what happens, of course, is that white people who do not make a conscious effort will fall into this idea of, hey, I'm going to hire the people that I can trust. And the people that I can trust are the people that I can identify more with. Okay? If by any chance you're a white person that was raised in a Mexican neighborhood or in a black neighborhood, you would be the exception to the rule. But the fact of the matter is that the majority of human resource managers will feel better hiring somebody that they can culturally identify with and feel, and this is a big kicker, and feel like they can trust. Because the fact of the matter is, and I have seen it a lot, I've worked here in the United States in mid-management positions for at least 30 to 40 years. I'm already retired, but I have seen this, where managers, supervisors hire somebody based on how they look, how they feel they can communicate with, only to be stabbed in the back by these same people. Okay? And of course, when they get fired or demoted, it is beyond them. They are totally perplexed and surprised. I never could have seen this guy stabbing me in the back like that. And in the end, you end up with people in management and upper management positions that neither qualify for those nor are the most efficient people for those positions. So when you talk about, and this is based on the fact that people that do the hiring do not research or get the proper information as to who are we hiring and why. If you have a town, a city that has 70% white people, 20% Hispanics, and 10% black, and your factory only has 2% black and 5% Hispanic, you're doing a lot of hiring that is based on how comfortable you feel with the person, not how efficient the person is. Take, for example, a recent comment from one of these right-wing conspiracy people. Said, oh, how good do you feel if you see a female pilot? And it's like, she must be a DEI, therefore she must not be efficient. And like, on the contrary, for a female pilot, and let's say for a female black pilot to get up there and qualify to fly a commercial plane is so, it's something that I have not seen yet. I wish to see it, but I have not seen it. But I would actually feel more confident with a pilot like that. Why? Because I am sure that through the ladders coming up, she would have to pay a higher price than most white pilots. Why? Because, if I see a bro, somebody that's like me, I am more likely to give him a break than to give a break to somebody who doesn't look like me, who doesn't talk like me, whom I have a hard time communicating with. So, you see, this is the reason why DEI needs to be in place, because managers and human resource people fall into this because, we are human and we have to be conscious about, hey, wait, this is something that I do subconsciously. I have to put some kind of remedy so that I don't do this, because this is detrimental to the company. Of course, there would always be some people who believe that white is superior, the white replacement, who don't want this, because it levels the playing field to where, hey, being white is not being superior. There are some white people who are rather quite dumb. There are some black people who are really quite smart. On every race in the world, you have some really, really outstanding people, and you have some really dumb ones, you know. And to claim that someone is not capable of being as qualified or as smart in your field because of their culture or color of their skin is quite ignorant. Now, the other thing that's being rejected by a lot of people that call and say, oh, Democrats are being divisive because they talk a lot about DEI and CRT. Well, CRT, my friends, is a study which is usually taken in college to understand how this natural tendency that we have to kind of gather together with those that look like us, act like us, behave like us, is detrimental to our society and has been built into many of our legal and educational and justice systems. Now, why was it built like that? Because originally United States of America did believe that white was superior. In the times when the United States was founded, okay, black and brown people were considered to be inferior, which was a fallacy, as science has come to show us. And so now we are trying to make our country better by saying, hey, you know, we have missed a lot of opportunities by relegating people to one corner just because of their color or culture, and we have not allowed them to participate in helping our country move forward. Imagine, if you will, that instead of hiring a lot of German rejects after the Second War, we had gone looking for talent everywhere. I think that we would be a much more technologically advanced society. But I don't want to just focus on DEI and CRT, but rather on everything that afflicts our society, on that creates divisiveness. And again, disinformation. We need to be painfully aware of the game, and it's still played. It's a game that many of you may have played as children. It's called telephone, where you have a line of people, young people, and somebody on this end comes up with a word or a phrase and says, I am late. Tells it to this guy. He whispers it on the ear to the other guy, and so on and so forth. And by the time that information gets to the end of the line, the last guy comes up with something completely ridiculous and oftentimes opposite to what was said on this side of the line. That is something that was taught in order to help us understand that it's not always because we want to lie. It is a human thing. And what that game did not have was feedback. Let me explain. I am late. He turns around and says, did you say I am late? Then I can say, yes, I did. Or if he says, hey, did you say I am trait? Like, no, I did not say that. And this is something that is built in some computer communications. It is something that we should learn from in order to avoid disinformation. Now, how does disinformation and misinformation happen? We hear something that we like. We hear something that we approve of. and without verifying either with the original sender or by other means, which I have spoken of in other videos, right? Like check to see if this is peer reviewed. Are there other experts that agree with this? Is it 70% of the experts, or is it just a fringe amount of people that just decided to go on their own and get clicks by disagreeing with everybody else? See, these are the mechanisms that we have to learn in this modern day and age in order to avoid disinformation, which creates this divisiveness. That's what really creates divisiveness, because how many people have heard from right-wing media or right-wing people the description of DEI that I just gave you, or the description of CRT that I just said? No, all you have heard, and I've heard it myself, that, oh no, it's because they make our children feel less. No, nobody makes children feel less. Now, if you are telling your child that white is superior to others, well, yeah, he's going to feel bad, because that's different from the facts. It's like if you're trying to tell your child that the world is flat, and then he comes out and finds out that the world is not flat, you know. But it's not a real hefty damage. It's like, hey, you teach your child about Santa Claus, and eventually he figures out that it's a lie. Does that scar him forever? No, it doesn't. You know, so all of these things are conflict points that people that want to gain power, that don't really have a cause, like, hey, vote for me and I will facilitate the increase in your salary. No, they can't say that. Or, hey, vote for me and I will go ahead and make sure that you have better health insurance. No, they can't say that. So the only thing they got is to create divisiveness, conflict, by spreading disinformation amongst us. And I'm sorry to say, but many of us are not willing to go the extra distance to find out if the people that we're talking to are actually telling us the truth, or just telling us something that we want to hear in order for us to go and vote for them. And then when they get voted in, our life continues the same as ever. And see, that is the problem. See, this divisiveness, the purpose of starting, oh, we're being divisive, they're being divisive, is to give you an idea that you have an enemy out there, and that they who are sitting up there are not your enemies. They're your friends. They're your lovely friends that they just want to stay up there. They really don't care about your life. And though we make ourselves think sometimes like, oh yeah, this guy made my life better, but when you actually go and look at the numbers, take the time to actually count the numbers. How many apples were you able to buy in April 24 of 2017? And how many apples are you able to buy in April 24 of 2023? If you didn't buy apples on 2016, don't make yourself believe that you bought apples. Or, well, it seems like I was paying less. No, but let's base our life on facts, so we're not part of that disinformation cycle. We already have a lot coming from people who are fighting for power. So anyways, I think that I will finish it here today, and I'll continue with other videos. I would like to, on the next video, either extend this disinformation video, or if you have I could just pick up the next current theme that's out there on the news. and we can talk, we can discuss it, talk about it, and continue this trend, so we can get to the point to where we are able to quickly identify fact from fiction. I'll see you guys later. I hope you have a great afternoon.